Welcome to Intelligent Politics Online video blogs. This is the third one, and today I'm going to cover Detroit. The media out there, you're probably familiar with at least Melissa Harris Perry's blaming the bankruptcy of Detroit on being a small government, and a lot of the media has blamed it on that. They're not the only ones. There are a lot of different variations of this same theme going on around, where we say the problems with Detroit were caused by, various factors, but most importantly, small government one. Let's talk about that for a minute. Detroit is a city that has been run by Democrats since 1962, for 51 years. And Detroit has had nothing but Democratic mayors. In fact, the last time they had a Republican city council, or even a Republican or independent dominated city council was, let me look it up right here, in the 1970s. And it was independent dominated at that point, with mostly independents, and they were mostly liberal leaning independents anyway. But it was the 1970s. They had Van Antwerp, Rogel, Eberhard, Tyndall, Wierzbicki, Brown Jr., and Nicholas Hood as their city council at the time. And that was the last time that it was really truly you could say, independent or Republican council. It was not a Republican council, it was independents, with Democrats representing the rest. The last Republican was in the 1990s with Keith Butler. Even today, in 2012, the Democrats and leftists heavily control the city council. You've got Cockrell, Pugh, Brown, Jenkins, Kenyatta, Spivey, Jones, Tate, and Watson. Actually, Brown just resigned. He resigned on June 24th. But this is their city council, and Jenkins, Spivey, Jones, and Watson all were listed as independents. However, if you look who's supporting them and the sort of policies they support, they are all left-leaning. They're all very, very left-leaning. So you have a Democratic city with Democratic city councilors with no Republican input. This has been a model city for the practice of creating the ideal Democratic city, to show how good the Democrats can really, really do, how well they can truly govern. And I think it did. I think it showed perfectly how well they can govern. The city is now in bankruptcy. The city has dropped from a population of 1.5 million to 700,000. This is only one of the problems. But getting back to the topic of it being a small government, Detroit is actually the largest metropolitan government in the nation. The largest. So when Melissa Harris Perry says that the bureaucracy and the government of Detroit was small enough to drown in a bathtub, she's being either a propagandist or an idiot. I prefer to think that she's a propagandist, that she really doesn't believe her own words, or she's just saying them. The other issues at hand. I have seen people blaming the migration of white taxpayers out of the city to be as part of the bankruptcy problem of the city. If your city is governed well, that won't happen. What happened in this case is middle class and upper class personnel from Detroit left the city because the city was raising its property taxes, raising its taxes across the board, businesses and everything else, not providing the services that needed to be provided for the cost of the taxes, and expecting people to stay in the city because, well, we're Detroit, you're going to stay here, right? Well, that's not how reality works. So if you're going to blame the Caucasian base for moving out, you have to blame the Democrats that ran the city for creating a city that they did not want to live in. First of all, they had no representation, and this was most likely due to gerrymandering of lines. Every state, every city gerrymanders. I'm not going to judge that. But most likely this was due to gerrymandering. So you have a middle and upper class population that's not getting representation, and you expect them to hang around and enjoy the crime? I mean, it's not like Detroit was keeping its promise to the people to protect them. It wasn't providing the services, it wasn't providing the benefits, and it was taxing at a ridiculous rate. Those are facts. You can say that under terrible situation where you have no representation, for one, the city is not keeping up its end of the civil contract through its tax network, two, that you would stay in that city because it's that city. You're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. There's no need to say anything else. This is not the case for Detroit. Detroit was managed into the ground by the Democratic Party. It actually shows exactly what happens when you let progressives, liberals, and borderline socialists run a city. It is not going to remain financially stable. It's not going to remain a viable city. Its population is going to dwindle. People are going to leave. The same is true with nations. This idea doesn't work. Never has, never will. There is no debate on it. There isn't. You cannot sit there with a straight face and blame anybody else. You can't say that it's the Republicans' fault. The Republicans haven't been in charge of that city in over 50 years. You can't say it's the Libertarians' fault because the Libertarians haven't been in charge of that city ever. You can't blame the taxpayers for leaving because the city was providing an unsafe and unfriendly environment for them. You blame who ran the city. Who ran the city? For 51 years, Democrats and Democrats exclusively ran the city. City council and the mayoral's office. They literally had the free reign to do whatever they wanted, just like Obama did during his first term, during the first 2 years of his first term. During the first 2 years of his first term, he could have gotten anything he wanted done. Anything he didn't get done during that time is because he didn't want to get it done. It's that simple. Anyway, short video for today. Hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching.